Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Make 2025 your best year ever. Set and track your goals with the Independent Planner. Designed for entrepreneurs by an entrepreneur. Supplement your digital calendar. Independent-planner.com. Authors Joan Williams and Karen Pascal. Now available on Amazon. Your Gut in You. Proper gut biome can enhance your body's immune system while improving mental health and combating obesity. And now let's get on with the show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We are here on episode number 198.
There we go,
yeah.
198. That means next one is number 199. And for those of you who are good at math, episode number 200 is coming up right after that. Isn't that?
Look at that. Look at that. It's flashing. 200.
200. There we go.
Yes, we're excited. 200 episodes. This is a big month, Scott. We just got off the Experience Backstage Live with Russ, Scott, and Shree, and that is 3 years of that show, 200 episodes of this show, and I will be celebrating on the 20th of this month, 500 episodes of Marketing with Russ. So we're talking lots of live streaming. We're here for all of you, right?
Yeah, and some say, well, is that really true? I'll tell you what, go to local.theexperience.video, and right there you can find all of the shows that we have. You can find links to the YouTubes, and in fact, I encourage you to go there and subscribe to Russ's YouTube, my YouTube, the YouTube for the Experience, and you will see hundreds and hundreds of videos there documenting the conversations that we've had with the most remarkable people on the planet.
Exactly. The most remarkable people on the planet, because I've got the most remarkable co-host right there, Mr. D. Smith. And so we attract amazing people like McDowell, who's with us this morning. What an amazing guy. He and I had such a great chat and really appreciated all that he's about. We're going to get to him pretty quickly, but want to remind you, besides what Scott told you about local.theexperience.video, I want to remind you that we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, or that would be 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time, every Wednesday for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. Not only do we go live at 7 a.m. Pacific, but then this converts to video podcast and sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook where we broadcast. Then wait, there's more. Then it converts to audio podcast. And if you join today, you get a free widget. No, I'm just kidding. You get an audio podcast, which is all of this is totally free for you, by the way. Free. So we just want to tell you that we just love being here and be able to spread lots of joy and good value to you. But I do want to tell you that we are so blessed. This show is not only supported by, let's get that banner out of the way, our amazing sponsors, Copper Rock, Independent Planner, and Joan and Karen Pascal. They're so great, the holistic lifestyle, but it is listener supported, and I'll show you that. There we go. Listener supported, and you can scan the QR code, or you can hit the link that's in the comments. What does that mean? Well, Scott and I really love doing this. We consider it almost like a ministry. We're able to get up there and do things, but the thing is there's a cost to everything. So that's where our sponsors and our listener support comes in handy. So if you're willing to help out with that today, we're so thankful for that. And Scott, I'm just looking forward to a great second half of the week.
Yeah, it's always great. I just think about the inspiration that we get every week from our guests. And that's what you're going to get. If you subscribe, you're going to get a good feeling. You're going to get a renewed enthusiasm for the future. I know there's a lot of news out there, and it's always bad news sells newspapers, right? Good news doesn't sell newspapers, but you're going to come here, you're going to find the good stories, the news stories that are stories about people who are overcoming challenges, who are celebrating their lives, and you get to join in with them. And so that is the experience of life. That's what you get right here on the experience every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Central time, 10 Eastern time. And it continues. We could go and do this 24 times. But the main thing is you are going to get inspiration every week and feel good because you spent this 30, 40 minutes on the experience with Russ, Scott, and great people like McDowell.
Yeah, and I just want to tell you too that this is expanded to the Experience Network, that we have multiple shows. So not only are we here on Wednesday, but if you want a local flavor and how you can really get involved locally, and we highlight Believers in Business every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, and that would be 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time, that we just local business people doing amazing things, talk about their faith, their family. We love that. Also, before this show every Wednesday, we have the Experience Backstage live with Russ. And by the way, we celebrated 3 years today of the Experience Backstage. So much fun. That is on Instagram only. Instagram only. And then Scott has the experience, or the Waco experience. Talk about that, Scott.
Yeah. So the Experience Local on Mondays is broadcast on 2 radio stations. Thank you to KWIL and KYKN. Those stations carry that one. And here in Waco, Texas, it's KBBW, the mighty 1010, the legendary 1010 AM, plus the FM translators broadcasting towers reach from Dallas down to Austin. And we have this show, it's at the Waco Experience is a 30-minute show interviewing leaders in business, government, and nonprofit organizations. And every week, once again, it's inspiring stories from people who are involved making their community nice.
Yeah, it's inspiring and insprat all at the same time. So, okay. We're going to get McDowell in the room and get this baby started. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. McDowell. How goes it?
Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
We are so great. It's so great to see you again. You know, you and I had such a great conversation.
Yes.
And I knew immediately that our audience had to hear from you. You're such an inspiring guy. So let's just start off with the basics. Who in the world is McDowell and what are you up to?
So I'm a public speaker, an international public speaker, and entrepreneur consultant. And my main mission is helping men and women understand each other, for them to build better relationships, and which also leads me to life coaching. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yes. And, I want to tell you that, our first conversation, you and I just clicked about all that you're about. I love the fact that you are getting out there, you're speaking, you're helping people with their lives and all that they're doing, overcoming insecurity and helping people build healthy relationships. I love all of that. Talk just a little bit more about that. Expand on that a little bit.
Sure. So in terms of my work, kicked off from my personal experience. So I grew up in a broken home, and my parents split at a young age, which, of course, proven according to also scientists as well, is something that really affects young children negatively. Now, my experience began from there. So my story began from the age of 7. I was this young man trying to figure out how to make sure that didn't happen to me. I saw my dad, one of probably my greatest inspirations. He went from this homeowner entrepreneur to this person who had nothing left to his name. And he had to start afresh. And I saw him go through that as I was witnessing. And that space led me into understanding that, okay, picking the right woman is clearly a very strong, very, very important decision. Like, you can't just go ahead and just pick him blindly. It's definitely very, very important. And I decided, you know what, let me just pick from a very young age. So, went to secondary school. I was trying to figure it all out, and got my first heartbreak through this young lady who I was studying for 2 years. I was like, okay, let me see what she likes, what she doesn't like, the type of flowers, what is it that she's so keen and eager to sort of like and dislike. And once I felt like I had enough data, I went to her and I said, listen, I like you. And she said, unfortunately, I don't like you back. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
what's going on? I thought I had it all figured out. I'm a nice guy. And again, you'd think that would be enough for me to now say, you know what, let me stop there. But no, I went ahead, I was resilient, and it led into 5 heartbreaks with completely different women, different reasons completely, but they all had one thing in common, which was me. And the last stroke was when my previous relationship, I was overgiven. So I was over messaging, over texting, and I got into a car crash. And I was like, let me message my missus to let her know that I'm not well. And it took her, I think it was like 12 to 14 hours to get back to me. And this wasn't a one-off. This was because she wouldn't respond consistently. And that's because she admitted at the end of our relationship that she just took me for granted. But at the time is when I had to realize it for myself. I knew that it was on me. I was the problem. I was letting this happen to me. And I was sick of it. I was tired of it. And I remember sitting in the car and I was looking at every single area of my life. So at work, I got passed on for promotions. In relationships, I was looked over. I wasn't taken serious. And then when it came to my family and personal issues, I was overgiven. And then and this is a funny example. I was responsible for organizing family gatherings. And there was one event where not even my family turned up. And they were like, sorry, we couldn't make it. And they had their own reasons for it. And I love my family. But that's when I knew that I was doing something wrong. And that's when I went to discover how to communicate with people, how to ensure that my message come across in the right way, or how to lead accordingly. And this is where, I went into self-development, self-improvement, just understanding exactly how the mind works, how human works, so that I can now project and create a better impact for myself. But I think for me, it was more the pain that I came from. I was done with having that happen for me again.
So, these traumatic experiences. So in your case, you had this car crash. Russ Hedge also had a traumatic car crash. Wow. And he shared that story. And those types of things do cause you to think. And I would like to get into a little bit of what you're talking about when you're talking about, how the brain works. How do we communicate? So share some of those things, and that'll help give a foundation for what people can actually do practically.
Yeah. So in terms of how the brain works and how we communicate, I was actually watching an interview this morning, funny enough. We communicate verbally, and we think that's where it stands from and that's where it ends, but that's not it. We have our body communicates, our voice, our tonality communicates. So these are all factors that are all part of the communication spectrum. And especially as a public speaker, I have to come in with the energy. I have to bring up, hey guys, welcome, well done, we're all in. And it's like, I'm here and I'm just like, and I came from an introvert space. So I was like, how the hell am I supposed to do that? Like, how am I supposed to be this energetic person? And the secret there is you want to create a mold and break it. So whatever you were, let that go. I was this insecure person. I was this person who would let people walk all over me. I was this person who said, it's okay, you guys just do whatever. I'm going to be okay with it. I was this person, it's time for promotion. yeah, please, if you can give me a promotion, great. If not, hey man, it's cool. I'll just keep doing the exact same thing. I'll come in with my broken leg. I'll come in with my broken wisdom too. I had to break that mold because it was breaking me. And when I broke that mold, and I was like, the first conversation I had with my employer at the time was, well, if you don't give me a promotion, I'm walking away from this. And he was like, please don't go. We'll give you the promotion. Wow. So I broke off that mold, right? And so as a public speaker now, the exact same thing. I'm no longer this insecure or introverted kid. I'm this confident, bold guy who's going out there to share a message that's going to impact people. This isn't about me. I need to make sure that I deliver what I say to them. So it's about breaking yourself into the right mold and becoming the person that you believe you can be.
Well, I find it really interesting because
Yeah.
I am all about connecting, building community and relationships in everything that I do in life. And in
Yes.
business, that is an amazing way to build community in your business as well. But, relationships are complicated, like you're saying. You're talking about breaking the mold, and we need to bridge the gap between ourselves and others. Some people are super extroverted like me, woohoo, and other people are very introverted and just, but that, the differences is what makes us stronger together.
Yes.
I always say that we are better together, but we've got to find common ground. We've got to be empathetic towards what other people are going through in their situations and find a way to come together. And we either do or we don't, right? We do and we're successful, or maybe sometimes relationships aren't really meant to be. There's times when you just kind of have to move on. Talk about that, when you're really looking at bridging the gap, building better relationships based on two different type of people. What's some advice you give?
So, great question. One of the things I say to every single couple I've worked with is step number one, you two come from two completely different worlds. Your experiences are different. Your challenges, your choices, they're completely different. Meet yourselves where you are now. Accept that this person is different from who you are. And that's number one. And a concept that comes to mind is two things. So John Gray, he's like he's top at the top of the game when it comes to relationships. He wrote a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And in that book, what he basically explains is that men and women come from two different worlds. And a man in his extreme masculinity is a man that's very logical, very it's like a sort of very directional and very decisive and very assertive. And a woman in her extreme feminine essence is very emotional and shows a lot of empathy. So it's about creating a connection at first. And that connection is, I understand that you're different from me, but I want to learn about your space. What's your space like? What's your world like? How do you think? What is your thoughts in this specific matter? And that transformation sort of settles the water, right? So instead of just trying to impose yourself, you're creating a connection. So the door is open, and you're now disarming each other from clashing. You're now creating a connection.
So that book was very famous, right?
Yes.
Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I was thinking about our pastor was talking about this. We're actually at a marriage retreat, and we're talking about how we ask each other the wrong questions.
Yes.
So if Russ comes over and we go to the coast and we go fishing all day and come back, and then the next weekend, Leah comes over and takes my wife, and they go off to the coast and they spend all day together and come back. My wife asked me, what did you guys talk about? And I'm like, talk? We went fishing.
Yeah.
And my wife would come back and I asked her, well, what did you and Leah do? And she's like, we talked, right?
Yeah.
There's and these are generalizations, right? But there are applications, right? And what I hear you saying, McDowell, is that we need to understand what the other person's perspective is and engage with them at their level, not our level.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit more about that? And how do you communicate this to a large group
when
you're giving your talks?
So again, let me answer the question first. So in regards to how you meet the other person at their level, is you take yourself out of the equation. And how you do that is, instead of saying, oh, how would I think in that situation? Well, you'd think logically. So you're not the person to be in that situation. You need to look at that person from a third, sort of like it's like you're in you're in the cinema and you're seeing this person in the screen. How would they react? Okay, so that's now, you're taking yourself out of the equation. You're generally trying to understand how a different person looks at that situation. And that's real empathy, because you're no longer concerned with how you view things and your identity being the right way to do things, and completely separating yourself from the outcome, which is, I'm here to learn. I don't know how that person may look, so I need to listen to so I can create that picture. So it's about painting a picture and allowing the listening to fill it in. Now, how do I project that in my talks? Again, it's very simple. I always go back to self. And the reason why I go back to self is because my belief is that you don't attract what you are. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And until you understand that, and you can understand that you can become more, then you're always going to attract things that you may not want, right? Another thing I say is, it's also key to deal with your wounds, because when you don't deal with them, you will bleed on people that didn't cut you. So in other words, it all goes back to taking responsibility for how I come into the world, and also projecting the energy that allows people, the right people, to be welcomed in.
You know, I want to say right off the bat, I love what you just said. We don't always attract what we want, but we attract who we are. That is
Yes.
so true. And a lot of times when we see what we are through other people, we're not happy about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And what does that mean? To me, it means, okay, let's evaluate and think to myself, what can I do better to bring unity and connection in this relationship, that I maybe am projecting the wrong things, and that's the reason I'm getting them back. And so I think it's always great when you get back what you put out there, and it's a good thing, right? When you're putting
Yes.
out something, forgiveness and giving and love, and you get that back, we love that.
Mm-hmm.
But some of our shortcomings that get put out there, we're thinking, I don't like that so much,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Instead of blaming other people, take a look at what we might be doing to adding to the problem. And that doesn't mean beating yourself up, right, McDowell? It doesn't mean like really coming down on yourself. It means let's take a look at things and trying to make ourselves better, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to add to what you've said, again, when it comes to, it's noticing, and I think goes back to the sort of being in the cinema room. You can also implement that to yourself. So I always say to most of the clients I work with as well, never react, always respond.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that when something's coming at you, you take charge before you pull out action. So this concept actually came from jiu-jitsu. I remember when I got into one of my first few fights where I was told to test out fighting the black belt. And I thought, because I'm a gym guy, I thought, yeah, I'm just going to show him my strength and go all angry and say, I'm ready to fight him. And I lost. I lost terribly. I got embarrassed. It was terrible, right? And what makes it worse is this person was like half of me. And I was like, how's that even possible? That defies all logic. I'm the strong one here. And what happened was, he calculated every single step of the fight. He was in control of the whole thing. And so to go back to your point, again, when we react, we lose. But when we respond, we give ourselves times to just look from a cinema screen and think, oh, is this the response I want? Actually, nah, I don't want this response. Let me give this response that gets me this outcome. And being able to have that control puts you in a position of power at all times. Sometimes my wife just came out of a pregnancy, and some of you potentially, I'm assuming you probably have already experienced it, if not. But there's times where it's all over the place, and I'm like, babe, I understand that you're feeling how you're feeling, and she's like, oh no, you're so kind to me, and it's like, yeah, it's okay, but it could have easily been, no, I don't like how she's, and it's like that reaction versus response. It changes so many things.
Mhm. Yeah, in an easy way for people to think about the difference between reacting and responding, it's emotional and intellectual, right?
Yes.
So it's that visceral, immediate reaction that we have that might be an emotional outburst,
Yes.
might be anger or because of fear, like someone cuts you off in traffic, right?
Yes.
Almost run, you have this emotional response, and you might get mad at that person, right?
Mhm.
But when you respond, when something happens, we're taking that time to think about what this is. And if the person goes speeding by in traffic, we don't know. Maybe their wife is in the back seat
Exactly.
and they're off
Yeah.
to the hospital for a baby delivery, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and so these are the things that when we think about reactions and responding, it's that emotion versus the intellect.
Yeah.
And so let's talk. I know we're winding down, Russ, and so let me push it back over to you for that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make one comment on that, and then I definitely want to give you your chance for your last comments, McDowell. And that is,
Yeah.
my phrase that I always like to use is be an actor, not a reactor. And an
Mhm.
actor is not somebody who's phony and fake, but somebody who's authentic and genuinely taking action instead of
Yes.
reacting to everything. So I agree with you 100%. So at this point, I've got to be the responsible host, like Scott said, and we would like you to give us your gold nugget, what you really want people to remember from our discussion today, and then let everybody know how they get in touch with you, McDowell, because we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to reach out to you. So go ahead.
The golden nugget. The golden nugget is, okay, let's make it about relationships, right? The golden nugget is things only start to happen once you realize that you're in charge. It's not your past, not your present, not your future. You are in charge. The actions you take today, every single step you make, that's on you. And the moment you are able to take charge of that, everything changes. Okay, and so that's it. In terms of where you can find me, I'm on YouTube at MacDo C, and I'm on LinkedIn, MacDo Chigborogu, and then I'm also on Instagram, MacDo _. So that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. And all of that information, McDowell, is in the comments, in the show notes. And so people can click right on that and go directly to you.
Yes.
And we are just so thankful that you're here today. It is something that we all need to think about in relationships and how we build those and make them stronger. And I'm just so thankful that you were able to be with us today. Your LinkedIn has been ticking along the bottom here as
Yes.
we've been chatting. And like I said, in the comments and the show notes is your connection links. And we are so thankful you're here. And I just want to tell everybody, I really highly recommend that you get in touch with McDowell. He has got such a heart for making people better, for improving relationships, and just so thankful for you being here today. And McDowell, we're going to say goodbye to you right now, but hang tight in the green room. We're going to wrap up and we'll come back and chat with you in just a minute. All right?
Sure.
All right. Thanks so much. Well, there you go. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Another, just this inspirational time. And I thank McDowell for reminding us about thinking about who we're communicating with and understanding their perspective.
Exactly. Well, and see, I think that's what people lose track of others because we're very self-focused, right? And you got to remember there's two people in a relationship, and you've got to realize a lot of things that happen are reactions to what you're putting out there. And that's really vital in a marriage, in a business relationship, in your personal friendships, everything you're doing. None of us are perfect, right? And we just really need to realize that. And I think that McDowell really brought that to the forefront. And I really appreciate him. So Scott, I just want to remind everybody that we're here every week, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. This goes live at 7 a.m. Pacific, but then it converts to video podcast. It sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever. So you can go back and view that and watch that. And just so thankful for that opportunity. And then guess what? There's more. It converts to audio podcast, and you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. And we're just so thankful you're here and part of this community. And I just want to wish everybody an amazing week coming up. You can reach me at russhedge.com. You can reach him at dscottsmith.com. And I just want to remind everybody we'll be here next week, 7 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. And until then, enjoy life and enjoy
the experience of life.
Woohoo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.